Hello. Well, let's keep the hell away. I never really know if I'm supposed to look at myself when I'm recording or into the camera. It's kind of weird with phones because sometimes they're like in strange positions. Um, yeah, I had this impulse of talking about something that just came up for me because I observe that very often, no matter if we believe in the possibility of unconditional love in this humanly realm, under the umbrella of unconditional love, very often when people express pain, when people express their own personal suffering, when people express their needs, their desires, their anger, their fears, their afraidness, suddenly the unconditional love is not there anymore because people don't want to subscribe to these realities. While to me it feels like completely dismissing that, it's our pain, it's our anger, it's our fear. And if one of us experiences it, it's not, even if we as an individual might not go through that at this time and space in our fragmented experiences, it's still part of us in a way. And there's like, I don't know, I find that just very interesting to observe how supportive people can be and welcoming they can be when you are, in quotation marks, at your best, or in a state of bliss and joy and happiness. But when we show this humanly side of ourselves, our own imperfection, our own not already mentally being here and there, and not having it all figured out and philosophically living by the greatest standard, yeah, then suddenly bye bye, or judgments come out, or the attempt to force one or the other into a specific direction or change them, or I feel, to me that feels like very far away from what love essentially is. No matter the humanly love, if it's the humanly love nor the love of oneness, the non-dual unconditional love, I feel both of them can include our process, can include our insecurities, our fears, our anger, and they are even expressions of love. And so often our body sends us signals through these kind of experiences. And because those parts of us are so pushed away, so rejected, so dismissed, neglected, and judged upon very often, we don't listen to those signals that are actually telling us about our truth, about our nature, about something that is present. And we're just like, no, I can't listen to you because I shouldn't even have you from the beginning. And oh my God, I can't show you, like, this would be even more horrible because then I have to face all of that repression. Yeah, it's so interesting because our wealth is a shared wealth, and our suffering is a shared suffering. And yeah, it's a topic that where I probably repeat myself sometimes, but we can see it so much, this notion or sentence of belief that we all have to give us everything, just individually, hyper individualistically on our own. And first, then we can share. First, it feels so, yeah, contradicting in a way. We are one body in many bodies, and our consciousness expresses itself in so many beautiful, unique ways. And they all have like their own beautiful nature of operating in ways that are not meant to be forced into templates, into frames that were pre-constructed. I feel like I enjoy looking at myself while talking a little bit more than looking into the camera, because at least you look into someone's eyes while this is just like a black dot. And yeah, maybe I have. We are encountering black dots way too often in this human experience. Our own black dots, maybe, it's not about blaming anyone. Um, yeah, I lost the train, I guess. But that's a funny thing, there's rain in the train. And there's rain in the brain. And we tend to intellectualize so much, and even there, it's it's becoming too much about ranking and not becoming. It already has been like that for such a long time, but the mind used in this sense of better and worse, higher or lower, more or less. But what is the nature of rain? Is rain even if you're using your brain, you're not creating all of those concepts and philosophies which are like forcing people into one streamlined pathway, or telling them what is right and wrong. It's it's being rain. Be rain. And the question is, what are we rain for? And I must say, I'm a little bit sick and tired how the human collective, and also on the tribal and individual level, is still finding excuses and justifying systems of repression and slavery and force. There are rules and regulations that are forced onto the individual, The individual human being is forced to give up its sovereignty as long as it participates within those um, operations, systems, however you want to call it. It's like a conglomeration of different systematics that are flowing into each other and support each other in order to profit. But yeah, it's like our participation is the thing that lets it continue, and our fear also of the consequence of if we are radical and we say we won't in any way support this anymore, we won't legitimize it anymore, we don't give anyone the power to have authority over our lives, over even the earth, you know, like this whole sickness of that man or and woman and whatever, like human can or any other beingness could possess a planet, a living being. I heard like an interesting definition of ownership, which I liked, which I was surprised by, because before that I wouldn't resonate with the word as much. But if someone belongs to you, or if you own them in quotation marks, you could also see it like you treat them as an extension of you. And of course, on the human level, we have all like fucked up, maybe in this life or in another life, or, you know, we all did that. And now we are at a point where there's a lot of wounding swirling around we all have participated in, from all possible sides. And through those unprocessed woundings, through this lack of spaces where people can actually feel through their feelings and where they can feel safe and welcome in their feelings, where they feel connected in feeling. There's a lot of blame, shame, trying to get revenge, trying to antagonize, villainize. Well, in most fucking cases, all we would need is just feeling like we are allowed to be our fucking self in the present of what is, with whatever that comes with. And there's so much violence. So much violence. When we meet and we give us the impression of we should be like this or like that, and before we can actually be allowed to feel okay, we have to achieve this and that. It creates a lot of striving and ambition. But where's that ambition leading to? Like it's like a fucking hunt for proving something that but it's progress for the sake of progress, but there's not a coming from the essential nature of who we are, but it's coming from this like fake construction of who we should be. And oh my fucking god, if we would stop, consequently radically stop this behavior of running after ideals of success that were imprinted into us based on like different factors of society, of media, of what we were growing up with, coming often also from a place of lack from earlier generations, but also, of course, constructions which are supposed to feed into the same fucking prison systems. Yeah, it's what will happen if we don't support these organizations anymore, if we do not give the power to those constructions anymore to even rule over us. It comes with another thing that's interesting, because the fear had been imprinted into us that if we are not governed, which is a funny word, by the way, because it's go warned, I hear in there, like, go warned. And yeah, that's kind of what government is. We are warning you, either you're living like that or that happens. Whatever that is, like a restriction of, so, like the illusion of freedom within those systems, or literal violence. If you don't follow those rules, we will make you follow the rules. But whom are those rules serving? What are they even there for? And the lie that they're telling is that humanity would break out in complete chaos because humanity is intrinsically evil, and if we don't control them, then everything is going to shit. But no. But it has been, like, programmed into the minds of people so much that many believe that, because they don't trust themselves. And if you don't trust yourself to be able to treat yourself with love, because you can't in those constructions of, yeah, actually slavery. It's a little bit more of a covert kind of slavery. It's like the slavery of money. It's the slavery of the state. And as long as you participate, you have certain advantages, and that makes you. It's the golden cage thing, yeah. But we're like so much more powerful. I mean, you can see that because, and I used to say that because I think it's quite precise. Whenever, and I know it from myself, from my own aspects inside of me where I sometimes try to control the external. Whenever we lose control, our attempt to control gets stronger. And we have seen that the last years a lot. That the rope, the metaphorical rope around our necks when it comes to those rules and regulations, is kind of, they try to make it tighter and tighter, because they can literally feel how, when I say they, in a more non-dualistic way, you can all see it like from another perspective, but within this human experience, we are still also individuals. And yeah, this is the thing, we can get so confused in that whole thing, dualism, non-dualism, only this, only that. But within this human experience, both is coexisting, or co-non-existent. It's both present and it's not either or. And we don't have to subscribe to this or to that. We can access it both at the same time. As much as also our physical body is an expression of all the dimensions, and our physical body is expressed in all dimensions, and all the dimensions are expressed in each other, and they are interconnected. And you cannot separate them from one another. It's not about that in my personal perception, at least, how I experience it. Our body is not the enemy. It's not something to be abandoned when we are within this physical experience. It's a trip of consciousness, and it can be a very wonderful, beautiful trip, even with all of the challenges, of course. And we don't have to deny our physicality. But there are beings, and there's where the individual story comes in. There are beings that have like a journey that involves disconnecting from the physical body more. And then they find truth in that. They find their own pathway, and they share that with the world from their excitement. And then there are other people that have like the complete opposite experience. They were so detached from the physical body, their journey is more coming into the body. But yeah, there's like, when you look through the internet, social media, YouTube, whatever, there are so many guides and mentors and leading you here and leading you there, and there's an inner compass in us. And our version, I was talking about that earlier, our version of success can be so unique, and it doesn't have to involve the standards, the expectations, or the ideals of someone that has from success. We might not achieve anything in the eyes of someone when we are really true to ourselves, really living our nature. We might not create this wealth and value that we were implanted with of what would be valuable. But we might be successful in being our nature without having to fake anything, it's there are processes of exploring something and stepping into different ways of beingness. But this can come from a place of integrity instead of from a place of forcefulness and mental control. Yeah. Let's stop screaming at each other to grow in this direction or that direction. Maybe there's really more of an openness that is necessary, a curiosity, a willingness to explore difference without antagonizing it. It's so interesting also, people that suffer through things where they participate in stuff that they do not want to do. They want to share their suffering. So they're like, yo, you're not participating in this. You're the issue. And yeah, we can laugh about it, but there's suffering. There's a lot of unnecessary suffering. You know, there might be struggle. And this is interesting because in my own energetic composition, there is an element of struggling for love. And this is, in a sense, part of my nature. Which doesn't mean that I have to fall for it all the time. But there's also an unnecessary struggle, like a struggle that is completely disaligned with your essence. Yeah, we might come into a time phase now, the next few years, where all of those bonds and connections and associations that are based on duty. We have to because of this or that, but actually it's not who we truly are. They are going to fall away. And we will more consequently have to live. Well, we don't have to, but this will be beneficial. To live from this place of consequent, uncompromised integrity. But this is like the only foundation where we can really truly meet in love, as love. This is the foundation where something can grow from that is not falling apart every single step. And where cooperation, instead of, and that's like very funny, because when people are like more selfish in this kind of way, not selfish in the sense of I'm walking over corpses and I want to hurt you and I want to be better and I want to gain from you, but selfish in the sense of I won't compromise my nature, my truth, my essence, my inner compass. Then there is more of a playground for cooperation, for collaboration, and for creating oases of raw, wild, unaltered nature in communion with compassion and conscious awareness, you know, like just, it will still involve conflict here and there, you know, like we're still in a transitional phase, but let's say it like that, the trees will not grow gasoline anymore. But there will be fruits again that are actually nourishing who we are as an individual and also as a collective. And now I kind of come back to the beginning of what I said. There's still a lot of judgment happening towards our own realm of feelings and emotions. a lot of fighting happening against it. All of those shoulds and coulds and woulds. And we're trying so hard to keep that strong facade, trying to be happy, and we're celebrating us. We're celebrating us for that even very often. You're so strong. You give your best. Every day you come with a smile. You can see the best in everything, in the small things. And yes, this is beautiful, of course. But it can also be a bypassing. And to create something that is in alignment with our nature, with our truth. Is not really possible when we bypass the devastation, the pain, the sadness, the loneliness. Oh heck, I'm lonely. I'm fucking lonely in this world, honestly. How often do you meet people where, well, I have had like the luck to meet several people over the distance, but how often do you meet in the physical beings with whom you can actually connect in your depth of beingness openly, without having to hide this or hide that, or protect this or protect that, or be careful about this, about that. We are, I've written something like that a while ago. We are connecting heaven in a way, and with heaven I don't mean like a religious kind of heaven. I mean more this sense of what is paradise? For me, that's this kind of experience of where you can be with one another, with oneself as one, openly expressing, freely expressing yourself without having to hold yourself back. Letting be present what is present in kind of a non-judgmental way. And we let us in. And I think now this video has like reached its maximum length or something, at least it was telling me that, so I don't know if this is going to exist when I press the button now, but yeah, I don't know. When I start talking, I'm just flowing, and that's kind of a thing I would love to do more in communion. On all levels, without excluding one or the other. Finding peace again with those parts of us that we have wounded, in others, in ourselves, and where we were wounded by ourselves, from others. Creating associations with those aspects within ourselves, that they can come out again, they can play again, they can see themselves again in a pure, positive light. they can learn again to connect, to be part of our experience. And yeah, I don't, even though I find myself kind of in a situation where I'm quite isolated just through my life circumstances currently, it brings space, but of course it also brings pain and suffering sometimes in terms of connectivity, intimacy, and all of that which is so deeply human in us. But I believe, or I feel that we can do that again, and I can also feel that we can create these spaces of communion again. And I feel that this isolatedness that might be part of the process of healing certain parts in ourselves, it also has to evolve. We have to evolve out of it again without giving up our individuality. That's the thing, you know, like maybe people are also afraid of communion in a sense because they feel like they would have to give up them their own individuality, but as well as duality and non-duality, it can coexist. And yeah, I could just talk forever because that's what I am, in a sense, a mind and a voice and an open heart and all of the other stuff.